Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Well, it's been a little while, huh? Thought you guys forgot about me. I didn't forget about you, huh? Fucking shows who cares more. Clearly it's me. Anyway, it's good to be back. It's been a while. I know. You're like, what the fuck? I thought you quit, Mike. I didn't quit. I just been taking time to focus my creativity on other things. And so, yeah, I was going to school to learn Spanish. Yo hablo un poco ahora, so I'm better than I used to be. Certainly, mi español es mejor. Mi español es mejor ahora, pero cuando lleva es no bueno. Way no bueno. See, I'm still working. I got some kinks to work out, or some kinks to work in, if you know what I mean. I don't know what that was, guys. It's been a little while. Anyway, reason I'm coming back, well, so as I said, I was going to Spanish school. I was learning Spanish. On top of that, I was really trying to take some time to focus on life, but also for a while I was just doing Spanish school. And I was editing my YouTube, and I go, and I know what you're going to say. You're going to go, Mike, we've heard about you and your fucking bullshit thing for too long. And, there's no quite a bad a habit like talking about what you're going to do and not doing it, which is why I did it. And now it's up and running. It's called Bain's World. I have a second YouTube. Not just Mike Bain Comedy, where you can hear this podcast and see my stand-up. I have my travel YouTube. So you get BAINS apostrophe SWORLD, but that's just the official name. That's not the handle, because a lot of people beat me to the handle. Apparently there's other Bains out there who also thought they were going to do stuff in the world. So my handle, I'll put it in the what is that called? The episode bio? Well, fucking Christ, dude. I dropped a lot of knowledge. The description, but the episode description, it is, if you want to look it up on YouTube, I got like 5 or 6 videos up there right now. Maybe I'll have 1 or 2 more. It's at Bain's World 6090. BAINSWORLD 6090. 69, baby. You catch that? Anyway, I'm back here because, well, I went back into the fucking jungle, man. I went back into the Amazon, did ayahuasca with the same shaman again, had an experience, and I got some knowledge that I felt like I just had to share. And I know what you're thinking, Mike. More stories about you puking? In a way. But I also... So one of the reasons I'm dropping this episode is because the week I was leaving, I got hit up by at least 3 or 4 different people that I know. And it was all saying... And we all talked. You know, I'm the sort of person who just friends can talk to, and we talk about deep shit. And... I've been hearing this a lot, but it was just very, I don't know how to put this. It was very prescient that I was going here to get this help. And these guys all said the same thing. They were questioning me, and in a way for help, in a way to get some stuff out. And it was they were all suffering from a similar thing, which is, hey, I'm a straight dude in the U.S. and I feel kind of lost. In various age groups, I feel lost. There's something missing. I feel empty. I'm depressed. I'm permanently anxious. I am consistently feel like something bad is going to happen. I can't ever just sit down and enjoy my life. There's so many different ways I can put it, but when somebody explains what they're going through, I know what it is right away. I wish there was a word for it. The way in German, the Germans... I got to give it to the Germans. As much as their language sounds goofy, it sounds like a dude sucking on marbles while he deep throats an elephant cock. They have words like Schadenfreude when you take joy in others' pains, and there's another word when a man just feels like an emptiness with life and he goes and travels. I wish I knew what that was. I remember reading it in a book. But anyway, I got hit up and I gave the same answer to all these guys. And it was something that was confirmed even on a deeper level when I went out in the jungle to do ayahuasca. And I will get to that. You got to listen to the podcast. Something that I think will help fix this problem. And maybe it doesn't work for you, but what the fuck, man? It can't hurt to try, and it can't hurt to hear something, because I've been there. And one of the reasons I went back, I wasn't expecting to go back so soon. I figured maybe I go back every couple of years, but if you listen to the podcast, you're aware of like my last episode going, I'm back, baby, but apparently I wasn't fully back. Like a dick that just can't get hard. I'm like, oh man, I'm hot, and then it just went away, and then it fucking hot again, and then it's like, whoa, it's floppy, and you're like, fucking get hard, motherfucker, oh, I want to fuck some pussy, and you won't let me fuck some pussy, oh. You ever feel that way with your emotions, with your mental health? Yep. Well, I was getting angry, and I realized that if I'm going to be in a negative space, I shouldn't be making content, just flat out. I shouldn't be doing it. I've done it before because I tell myself I have to have enough content out every week at this time, and you set this work ethic in mode where it doesn't matter, it has to get out. And sometimes that does work because, some of the stuff you're going to make will hit, but then some of the stuff you're making also sucks. I don't want to put negative shit out there. I don't want to, even if I can put on a mask for however long it takes me to make an Instagram video or a podcast, I don't want to do that because that's not the person I'm trying to be. And we are what we do. So I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to do that. So I had to take a hiatus to figure out, because I felt like the content I was making, on social media wasn't as good. It was coming from a darker place. I also was fighting this thing where I had gotten to this point of confidence where if I didn't like someone, I was like, I don't fucking like you. But it's one of the ways of doing things. You can also, it doesn't have to work that way. It also helps if you just go, you know what, I'm not a big fan of this guy, but I can have compassion to understand why he is the way he is, which was me in my class with all the Europeans. It was a lot of Europeans. And if you listen to this podcast, Mike Bain does not like a lot of Europeans. They're fucking arrogant. I'm sorry. There was a German girl in my class. Spanish is a Romance language. So the language is gendered. And when we would explain that a group, when you see a group of like kids, right? Niño is boy, los niños is boys, la niña is girl, las niñas is girls. If you see a group, could be 8 girls, 2 boys, becomes masculine. There's both of them. You just go los niños. Actually, this is funny. So when you're referring to your parents, you say mis padres. Padre means father. So so you don't say my parents, you say the literal translation in English is my dad's. So I kept hearing people be like, oh, my dad's, going home to see my dad's, and I'm like, there's a lot of Mary Cone shit going on down here. I didn't think you guys were this fruity. I thought I left that behind. But no, what it is saying is my parents. Because there's one masculine person, the whole group becomes masculine. And this German girl would sit there and go, Spanish is a racist. And finally, she did it every day. We finally snapped and go, first of all, it's sexist. It's not racist. She goes, but it is the same thing. And I was like, such a German European concept. To view everything through the lens of racism and not through gender identity even. And she was a pretty butch lesbian. And I couldn't get over coming to another person's country and telling them your language is racist. Your language is wrong. The Europeans haven't changed much. They went from showing up and saying, you're not believing the right religion and you're not wearing the right clothes, to showing up and going, you're not saying the right stuff about LGBTQ and feminism. You don't have the right women's rights. It's the same shit. But anyway, that's not... Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Why did I record this episode? Because, I was in a fucked up place and I could feel myself getting angry. I knew what was going on with me. My friend from Boston, who is here visiting, spending time here, he called me out on it one day. He goes, you're acting like a fucking cunt. And I was grateful he said something about it. And So I went off into the jungle, and this podcast was created. It's called Get Your Act Together. The whole point of this podcast was for me, in a comedic way, to help people help themselves and showcase people I think have done awesome things and overcome stuff. And at times, I've kind of gotten distracted from that. Sometimes it's fun. I just talk about something I've seen. Sometimes it's fun. I talk about the news, but I'll have that stuff here and there, but I still want to keep to the core of why I made this show. Look, well, here's something in the news. For those of you guys who aren't aware, the federal government finally, the federal government, there was a study done on fluoride in water, and fluoride is supposed to make your teeth not get cavities, but it's also an industrial chemical that is not supposed to be. Remember, how they say don't swallow your toothpaste? Well, there's a lot more fluoride in your water that you drink from the tap, and they let you swallow that. And finally, after years of the Fed refusing, trying to not release this information because of their corporate overlords, a judge said, you got to release the findings, which is that fluoride reduces the IQ in children. Fluoride, the amount that you drink in your water, reduces the IQ in children. So when people are saying there must be something in the water, they're right. And it's making you fucking dumb. It's making your kids fucking stupid, dude. People sitting around wondering why, if you look it up, the U.S. has lower IQs than it used to. Oh, man. You ever read, I'm going to read on this podcast. Clean out my house. I found an amazing letter. And I just found these letters and notes from my grandfather and my great uncles. And just the way they wrote is just, wow. Like these guys came out of high school with a better education than people come out of college with. It just blows me away. But anyway, I digress. I found myself in this weird situation. I was reading too much on Twitter and getting mad at politics. And I would wake up and the first thing I would do is go, hey, I have to check to see how my viral videos are doing on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And then I would just get lost in there. Dude, I got so bad that I was arguing with people in my comments. I even commented on other videos. Not a good comment, but telling someone they were dumb. Do you know how embarrassing that is? I'm embarrassed to tell you that. I was one of those people. I fell for it, man. I was the junkie. That's the ultimate social media junkie, man. I think it's good if you see something you like to, hey, boost somebody up or maybe defend them if they're getting really trashed, to boost your friends and content you want to see. But to go in there and argue with someone who you don't fucking know, or for me to sit there and have some stupid faceless profile come in who's clearly fucked up in the head. I put up this video where I said the gender war is bullshit, men and women should work together, blah, blah, blah. And I got a lot of shit for it across multiple platforms. And I was, I actually give it credit. My right-wing friends didn't give me any shit. They might have saw it and went and probably thought this is faggy. But it was all women and leftists who just came up my ass for saying work together. For saying men and women shouldn't hate one another when men, why did you leave out the LGBTQ? And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Just what am I doing on here? And then, as I said, people were reaching out to me and they were all saying the same thing. Mike, someone was asking me about ayahuasca. Did that really work for you? And he's going through something. I won't get into his personal details, but, several people I talked to, they're all married. And if they don't have kids already, they have some on the way and they're just really trying to find hope in life and meaning. And they go, why? I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the life, the job and the wife and the kids and the home. And there's something missing. You know what it is? The best way I always, when I meet people I talk about back home in the Western world, you feel like there's something missing. Not only is there something missing, but it's sometimes there's this permanent anxiety where in your mind, it's like you want to sit down in a chair, a big, comfy, easy boy, and then you feel something poking your ass. What the fuck is poking my ass? It's like there's a fucking needle in here. It's like a fucking needle dick in my chair. I want to sit down and relax. I worked all day. I just want some mental serenity, and this thing is poking me in my fucking ass. And you move, and you're like, all right, I think it's gone. And it's still poking you. And then you move, and it's still poking you. Get up, you go to a new couch. It's still fucking poking you. You just poke. I know that feeling. And I think so many of us have it. And I said, fuck it, it's time to go back, man. And I went back, and it's interesting. I often think that people in the West, and I talk a lot about this in this podcast, and for the record, spending 3 months in Colombia made me very homesick for the United States. I went through a honeymoon phase with this country where I often put it on a pedestal. It's still a great place, amazing people, amazing country. But, you know, it's a place. And like any place, is good and bad. Here, the United States, it's just, there's something beautiful about my home. There's something beautiful about here. There's something beautiful about many of the countries I've visited. There's good and bad in each place. And I won't get into the whole life is always better somewhere else. I just, I tend to be more critical to things and people I care about, which is a lesson I learned in the jungle. So I'm more critical of my home than I am of other places. But while I'm out there, the people I was staying with, the shaman, his family, his extended family, so they have a word for, solo gringos that come through, or Westerners. They call them caminatas, walkers. They call them walkers. And somehow you see them when you're traveling, and this isn't something you're exposed to as an American back home, because we don't really get that. Not a lot of countries have this money to do it, and this is not the place people would come to find themselves. It's a place people come to make a living and make more money, buy a home, start a business. But what they mean by walkers is sometimes you get just a person, and I've met these people in hostels, but they're just traveling and they're alone. And I mean, when I say they're alone, they're fucking alone, man. These are people, some of them might be younger, some of them are older, some of them are in their 40s or up, and they're just alone on the fucking road. And it's kind of blows your mind. It's a little, I don't know, it's scary. It's scary because you go, what if that's me? What if I'm 48 and I'm completely alone in this hostel and I'm still trying to do coke and fuck prostitutes? Or I'm 48 and solo and I'm just wandering on this fake, faux spiritual journey, because there's a lot of fucking frauds out there who talk about spirituality and getting better, and what happens is they start getting into the whole thing, whether they're they spend 12 months at a Buddhist monastery and they can't find it, so they go to meet a shaman in the Amazon and do ayahuasca, and then they go do ibogaine with someone somewhere else. They're constantly going from different place to place without realizing the lesson I got, which is that this time I went, it's inside you. You can find something to help you bring it out, but a lot of people don't realize where it is this whole time. And, we produce that in droves. Canadians, Americans, Western Europeans, we produce these walkers, these lost souls. And for people who don't know what that's like, for locals here to see that, it's a weird thing to just have these strange walkers, these wanderers who just dejected and despondent to life, which is so many people back home. It's an epidemic of people that are lonely, and loneliness is addiction. Loneliness is where your addictions come from, whether it's technology or porn or heroin or smoking crack or drinking or ecstasy. Well, you don't really get addicted to ecstasy. Maybe you could. Weed, whatever it is that you're trapped in, whatever bad gambling, bad behavior, it almost always comes from loneliness. I think I mentioned this study on this podcast before about Rat Park, where they stuck a bunch of rats in a cage. And if the rats were alone, they were given cocaine water and regular water. They would always drink the cocaine water when they were alone, and eventually they'd die. Fucking dude, they just got it fucked up, man. You just put a bunch of rats in a cage and you watch them overdose on cocaine because they're so fucking lonely. It's fucking horrible. It's a fucking terrible thing to do. But anyway, it's so fucked up. Just watching an emo rat go, life is pain, and just fucking drown himself in cocaine. Anyway, if they put like a park in there for the rats to play in and they filled it with other rats so that they could socialize and have fun, they didn't drink the cocaine water anymore. They gave it up. I can tell you firsthand, I've dealt with it. If you listen to this podcast, I've dealt with my own addiction, my family's addiction, and friends' addictions. And what happens is it comes from being alone, and you usually push people away You get more alone, your habits get worse, and then you go, oh, why doesn't anyone, and you're a victim. Nobody wants to fucking spend time with me. Well, you're a fucking asshole. People don't want to spend time with you because you steal fucking DVD players. Because you steal your grandma's money. Because you're a fucking prick and you get drunk and you say horrible fucking things and you're rude and you're mean and you start fights. And so you push people away. And what does that do? It makes you lonelier and you're more of a fucking junkie than you ever were before. So here I am. I'm going back into the jungle. And this time things were kind of different. They were different because unfortunately the beauty of last time is I didn't know what to expect. Now I know what to expect. And things are different because there's like right where I'm staying, 100 yards down the road in this little town, there's a bridge. And so let me explain the situation. This part of Colombia, now this is hard to understand because we live in the U.S. where the federal government and the state governments just have rule of law everywhere. There are countries around the world where there are portions of that country that you can point to on a map and you go, oh, that's Morocco, that's Colombia, that's Brazil, that's Nepal. But when you actually look at it, when you get there, the central government, the government you know of as Morocco, Nepal, the Nepalese government, the Colombian government, they don't have control over that area. It's inside their borders, but that area is ruled over by some other people. Now in Mexico, you kind of have this with narcos, rule over their own areas. In this area of Colombia, there's a lot of cocoa leaves. Some of the areas are ruled over by tribes who sell cocoa. Some of them are straight ruled over kind of by dealers and narcos. And they got a lot of laws. It is not chaos. It's called a red zone. There are no police. I saw UN trucks. There's no cops. Cops are not allowed there. You're a cop. You start going into areas that's not yours. You get a bullet in the head real fucking quick. These people are not afraid. They're not fucking around. But they have their own laws, their own way of life. To put it, one of the guys that I was staying with, he gave me a tour of his home. And, dude, he had no fucking walls. He had one back wall, and he had pillars holding it up. And he goes, yeah, no one's going to rob me. We don't deal with that. I don't have to worry about being robbed. That doesn't happen here. We don't have thieves here. We all know each other. We're the same community, the same people, same tribe. We don't worry about that. More than anything, I was just blown away by the fact that these giant jungle bugs could come in his house, and he wasn't even fazed. But so I get out there, and this time it is different because remember, as I said, there's no Colombian government. People are governing themselves. The rule of the gun. Not the dudes are walking around with AKs or anything like that, but there is. It's not a free-for-all, but there is no police, no central government, and right where I was staying across the bridge, they said no more gringos, no foreigners at all. Because after that presidential election, for the first time, someone from the left-wing party, which, remember this area had a lot of left-wing guerrillas, won, and so they're just like, nope, no more foreigners. Things got really shady, and people got kind of aggressive and ticked off. The presidential elections are a big time in every country. And they go, and I had a friend who went across the bridge, not when I was there, but before. You have to get permission from the tribe, elders. You got to really get permission, and it's not easy. It's not fucking easy to do. And I wasn't even fucking with that. And they told me once I got there, they go, look, you can't leave. Can't leave the land. Sorry, if it's just, if you need to go to town, we'll figure something out. We'll take you, but you're not going on your own. And there's also a lot of Venezuelan refugees because Venezuela's been in a shit show, and they snuck down to Ecuador, and they've been coming up, and they're shady. I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat it. The Venezuelan refugees, sometimes they're good people, and you meet a guy, and he used to be a fucking surgeon or own his own restaurant, high-class restaurant. Now he's just driving Uber. Used to be an engineer. I actually made a Venezuelan friend at the free gym down here. I practice my Spanish with him. He practices his English. We work out under a bridge. Bunch of fucking hood dudes with fucking pit bulls and shit. It's wild, man. It's a fucking scene. It's in between a rotary under a bridge. We're lifting fucking rebar pipes with concrete on the end of them. You know, sometimes paint buckets filled with concrete, sometimes a giant concrete slabs. It's something else, dude. It's like out of a fucking movie. And he, you know, he's a nice dude. He used to be like an engineer. Now he's, you know, working from home out here. But a lot of guys you'll meet dudes from Venezuela, and they're thieves. A lot of people on it, and the women are prostitutes and thieves. You don't fuck Venezuelan chicks in other countries, especially in Colombia, because you are very likely to get robbed. They're shiesty bitches. So, I'm in this small town, and it's not as friendly as it used to be with the Venezuelan refugees. They're like the locals never seem to mind you, but these guys are grilling you. And so it's a little weird. I get down there, I bring a childhood friend of mine, and this was not something I anticipated, that bringing someone would cause me to focus on their situation and worry about their success. And one of the things I realize is how when you love someone and you care about someone, you hold them to such high standards. You know, I don't care if the junkie in the gutter gets better. I hope he does. That'd be cool. But, you know, I don't know him. I care if my brother gets better, if my mother gets better, if my friends get better, if my father gets better. I care. I hold them to a high standard because I love them and I care about them. So, and that's something that I had to deal with. And I got some serious lessons this time around. It did not take for me right away. I started feeling the medicine and going through a mini trip before I even got there. So I was kind of excited because here I am closing my eyes and having these weird lucid visions. It's like I tapped into nature again, and it was otherworldly even. And I told someone and they didn't believe me. I told someone who was living there and I was like, fuck you, I know this is real. I feel like the medicine's inside me and I haven't even taken the ayahuasca yet. A little bit, I'm not fully out there, but like I feel something. And I do it the first night, and like I kind of trip. I go to hell in a mini way. It's painful. It's not comfortable. I feel that horrible feeling I felt last time I went the third night when I had my breakthrough, when I really went to hell and I thought I was dying. I feel that on a smaller scale. And I want to puke so fucking bad, and I can't fucking puke, man. I'm sticking fingers down my throat, and I can't fucking puke. I'm tripping in the jungle, and I'm out there just coughing and trying. I can't fucking puke. I want to puke. I want to purge, and I can't do it. But the medicine, like that consciousness that exists, it didn't come to me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm only getting part of the medicine here. Next night I do it. Same thing, but a little more intense in the pain and discomfort and the awfulness and the feeling of dying and just suffering. But once again, I gotta fucking puke. I can't fucking puke. Fingers, literally, in the jungle. Fingers to the back of my throat. Dude, there's some weird stuff at the back of your throat, man. I'm dangling my uvula. There's like a little, like, cap back there that covers your fucking... It's gross, man. It's fucking gross. And I'm trying to puke. I can't, and it hurts so fucking bad. And I'm hurting. Anxiety attacks, panic attacks in the jungle. And, you know, it's been a little while. So you come back, and it's... Even for a guy who's been through it, there's a moment where you're just fucking tripping beyond anything you could imagine, and you're watching... You know, my buddy, first night, he was tripping. He's watching the shaman spit on me because they think that they take this liquor and they spit it on you. And the belief is that someone explained to me, if it comes from the mouth, it opens your mind. There's a reason they do that. And it's a lot because there's chanting and there's fire. And there's, it's a small fire, but there's just shadows and there's you puking and you hear other people, but it was a smaller group, so not as much puking to hear. And a lot of locals this time came through, lots. So I'm watching a lot of ceremonies, a lot of cleansing ceremonies where Taita, the shaman, is whacking people with branches and, chanting and spraying liquor on them, and it's intense. It's intense. Even me who's been through it, and I'm trying to be like, hey, get back to where this feels comfortable and you feel safe again. You know, but it was a long way to get out here, and I'm trying to get there. You know, because I lost my creative edge when I got sick and my dad died and I lost my lust for life. I got to get it back. And I'm fighting. I know what I want. I want to get it. How am I going to? I'm going to purge myself. I'm going to purge whatever remnants of COVID are in my body, whatever bad emotional feelings. I'm going to purge them. I'm going to see God again. I'm going to talk to God, and I'm trying to form connections. And they kind of are on the second night, but I'm not all the way. I can't fully feel the other consciousness in my brain. And I'm like, am I willing these thoughts or not? And it was tough. I started going, did I not experience the thing I did where I had another consciousness in my head? I know I did. I know I had this come to God moment. I felt it. I felt the love when I left this place. I felt a feeling of life and joy and compassion that I never thought I could feel. And I'm not, what's going on? I'm getting scared. So I decide after the second night I'll do back to back, and I'm not sleeping. I used to be able to after a ceremony. Ceremonies at 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. I'm not, and second night I took 3 cups. Puked up the third cup as soon as I had it, but I've never taken 3 cups. And I'm like, all right, over time you get more sensitive. The medicine starts getting in your system, sticking around. Do a back-to-back night. And, baby, it came back. Ooh, baby. Now, it was, when I took that first dose, it was bigger than before. And, I closed my eyes and the visions came and she came back. And let me preface this by saying that I had been spending my days really prepping for this. Because I knew what techniques had worked before and I was already on top of them, which is why I was distraught that didn't work right away. Which was that I broke from technology. Last time I couldn't use technology, but this time there's 3G out there. Some fucker built a tower somewhere nearby, and so you can sometimes get reception. Not all the time, but sometimes, and they put a Wi-Fi in the cabin. They're like, hey, you want to donate for the Wi-Fi? And I go, fuck no. I didn't come here to play fucking tiddlywinks on my computer and watch porn. Came here to fucking be a better man. Fortunately, my buddy didn't realize what I realized, and he got completely trapped in his technology addiction in the worst way. And it became something that I noticed, and the other guy there noticed, and eventually it was something I had to confront because it was driving me nuts. And as I said, I'm trying to be present. That was my lesson. And this is the lesson, one of the lessons, so I'll announce them when I can, for life. Man, be fucking present. Be present. Be present. I can't impress upon you how important this is and how hard this is. I did it because I was in the jungle and I refused to touch my fucking phone. I refused to touch it. Okay? And I was putting in work because this wasn't a vacation. This was work. I'm reading books on religion, finishing my first religion book. I'm getting to, Taoism, Christianity, Islam. The one that helped me feel a transcendental feeling before. I am reading books on meditation and mindfulness, which are really teaching me to be in the moment, how to combat depression and pain and anxiety. And I'm reading a book on philosophy. I'm reading letters from Seneca on Stoic philosophy, and I'm really putting in the work. And I found that, and I'm just staring. I'm staring into the jungle, man, and I realize something. How beautiful it is. And over this process, I'm realizing how beautiful, life is. Some of this came after, my other ceremonies, and I'll get to that. I'm sorry, things aren't fully chronological here, but I started realizing how important it is to be present. And so I practiced meditating, especially because I needed to meditate through the pain because it was fucking excruciating. It was insane. And so I realized that you have to just, when life is really getting at you, when you're really dealing with anxiety, it's usually because you're imagining something that hasn't happened. It might never happen. I'll sit around and I'll be like, oh, I might have to work a job this summer, and I will imagine fights I'm going to have that won't even happen. I will make up a hypothetical fight and get emotional about it in my head. I'll emotionally have hypothetical fights with friends and family and strangers, hypothetical confrontations, potential problems. Oh, what if so-and-so dies, or this and this happens? Things that aren't happening. I'll go back in my past and I'll remember things I wish I did. I wish I acted this way. All of that is conducive to mental illness, pain, suffering, depression, and anxiety. I'm not telling you not to plan for the future, but be in the moment. And one of the ways I did this was through meditation. Okay, to pay attention to what's around me, because what's around you is really fucking awesome and beautiful. And I did. Now, I'm sure that I don't think I invented these. I just figured something out that other people already knew about, right? So breathing. Paying attention to your breathing is so important. It does so much for you mentally. And it took me so long to figure it out, to actually believe in it. One of the things I do, there's different breathing techniques. Look them up. One that I'll do is I count. Breathe in, 1. I say 1 in my head as I breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, on the out, 2. So I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And just do that. Do that a bunch of times. Focus on the breath. Do not allow other ideas into your head. Don't fight them, but kind of dodge them, right? Like when Bruce Lee said, become water, that Taoist philosophy, water. Become water. What goes in the cup, it becomes the cup. Be fluid. So you're not wrestling with these ideas. You're just dodging them. Oh, that's a thought. My brain is doing its thing. It's like a muscle twitch, and I'm just going to let that pass by. And if the 1, 2s aren't helping, you go harder. You go for 100. You go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you go all the way to 100. Focus on every number. Don't get in your head about thinking, oh man, I just want this to be done. Oh, I'm halfway there. It doesn't matter if you're at 50, 25, 2, or 99. I promise you, if you do, and if you fuck up, if you forget your number, or you get distracted with outside thoughts, if you're thinking about anything other than the breath of the number, you start over at 1. I promise you, when you finish, you will feel calmer than you did when you started, and you will feel this sense of accomplishment. And that thing that was fucking you up in your head will be a little more distant. And the other technique I realized, this one I found out my friend told me it's called grounding. I just kind of came up with it on my own, but I didn't invent this. Other people have come up with this ages past. Look around you and announce in your own head, you can do it out loud or in your head, the things you see. Now I'm going to do it in the room I'm in right now. Cup of water, cup of coffee, scissors, chocolate, mouse, microphone, book, laptop, phone. I'm talking. Computer's moving. Bag, backpack, light switch, white, green, plant, black, window. And then you can alternate it. What I think the best thing to do is if something's moving or momental is in the moment, focus on that. So what I would do is I go butterfly, leaf falling, leg itchy. I wouldn't just announce things I see, things I would feel. Moving foot, scratching toe. And it sounds goofy, man, but I promise you, I wish I knew this decades past. Just itchy eyelid. And sometimes I would announce the thing itself. Tree, grass, river, sky, butterfly, bird, hear bird, bird sing, hear bug, hear chicken, chicken move, chicken walks, chicken there. Sometimes colors, orange, green, white, blue. The colors are the things that I'm seeing. Sometimes what they're made of, wood, leaf, plant, water, and usually a mix of all three. I just let my brain do what it does. I look at it, and the word that comes up is the word that comes up. But just do that, and as you do it, you'll actually get in a rut, like in a good way, where you keep listing off the things that you're seeing over and over again. I promise you, if you are having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, use these methods, especially this one. Because the thing that you're fucked up about, you're usually like, oh my God, what if my mom dies? Boo, I took too much mushrooms. Oh, dude, what if I die alone? And whenever an idea comes in that isn't there around you, I do this thing where I go, thought not present, thought not there. This little, when you're on Windows and you click something and you can't find the file, and it goes, boop, file not located. I do that with the thought. I have a little boop and it goes, file not there. It passes. Thought not there. Thought's not there. And I go, I'm not there. I'm not in the future. I'm not 80 years old, in a nursing home. I'm Mike Bain. I'm right here. I'm in a hammock. I'm in the jungle. I'm right here. I'm sitting in front of my laptop. I'm recording a podcast. I'm right here. I'm right fucking where I am. I'm nowhere else. I'm not 8 years old fighting with a bully. I'm not 45 trying to get married or raising a kid. I'm just right here. And I promise you, man, especially if you ever end up having anxiety issues on hallucinogens or weed or whatever, even if you're not, use this. It is. And I trust, dude, I used it when I was my third night, which was a back-to-back, no sleep for 43 hours, I went overboard. And I tried this, and it helps sometimes, but usually I got so bad, man, I looked at like a log that built up the temple, the Maloka, and I didn't know what fucking wood was. I went for the word wood, and I go, I don't know what the word is. And I was like, I'm fucking fucked. Oh! This third night. Oh, man. I'm giving myself lessons. Be present, be present, be present, be present. Be in the moment. Deal with your thoughts, because it's work. You have to deal with your thoughts. You have to sit there. And I know it's uncomfortable. Like, make yourself sit in a room for 20 and you're going to get uncomfortable. You're going to get real uncomfortable. All right, you're going to be like, where's my phone? Let me watch TV. Let me play with my dick. Just sit. Now, it helps even more if you have something to focus on, like nature, or even a city. Look at a cityscape. Just sit and deal with it. I know it hurts. I know it fucking hurts, man. I promise you, it'll feel better. The more you do this stuff, the more you meditate, the more you sit in the moment, you let your mind go clear. You don't got to do it your entire life. You just do it for 15, 20, 30 minutes. Promise you, the effects will be spellbinding. Wonderful. Sorry, I'm this third night, like I said, back to back. So when you have your breakthroughs, it's when I saw God last time. I take the medicine, and I lay back and I have my visions. And she came to me, and God, I almost fucking cried. The medicine, I say she, but a lot of people say she. It could be whatever. I'm not trying to. I try not to fucking throw human concepts at fucking gender, not to sound all hippie and shit, but, some people it might be different. They say that the plant's leaves are feminine, and that's what the thing's made out of, but it's a vine. The vine itself is the masculine part. Anyway, God, did I have a fucking, and I'm feeling it, man, and I'm closing my eyes, and she came back. And as I said, the best way I know how to describe this is that it is thousands upon thousands of entities, yet it is one entity. It is like the Holy Trinity, in that Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit are one. They are one thing. They make up one thing, but they are three aspects and different kinds of this one thing. Separate but equal, separate but the same. That's what this was. And initially came to me, and man, I was, everything inside me was begging for answers. And over the first 2 nights, I did get some stuff, and it was realizing that I have been so fucking cruel to myself. I've been so mean to myself. I have, instead of just being like, hey, fuckface, your dad died. He killed himself, and you came home, and you couldn't hug your fucking mother for 3 weeks because you had COVID, and she's got an autoimmune disease, and it fucking hurt. It fucked you up and it hurt. And instead of just being like, hey, I need to take some time off, whenever those messages came in going, hey, did you quit comedy? When are you going to do stand-up again? Where are you? Hey, I didn't see you at this. I didn't see you. You didn't just say, I'm taking time off. You felt bad and you bullied yourself. I thought I was going to bully myself into coming back. And those first 2 nights, I even had times where my personality was splitting, like where I felt myself growing and the strong me was coming back. I haven't felt as strong as I used to be. And as he was growing, he was bullying the present me, or at that time, the present me. Fucking bitch, deal with the pain. Fucking coward. Blah, blah, blah. And then, you should have done this. You should have. And then another voice, these are all my voices, would be like, shut the fuck up. Stop yelling at him. That's why we are in this position, because you're a fucking mean cunt. Another one goes, you don't fucking yell at him. You're doing more of the same. And finally, like, I'd go, shut up. Or a part of my brain I would make my brain go silent. Just let it go. Just consistently. Best way I know how to describe this medicine is your brain is in overdrive in every way, and you are fighting to calm it, to focus in this moment. Because the more it runs and splinters, the more discomfort you can deal with. And I had that the first couple nights, just what the fuck? Just fighting with myself. And then I realized, no, you have to have compassion for yourself. It's not about destroying the me that you thought was weak. It's about merging with him. We all one. We're all the same. You are aspects of your mind, Michael, different aspects of your personality. And they all need to be heard and morphed together. We're not destroying any aspects of ourselves. We don't got to kill aspects of ourselves. It's ridiculous. It's a poison thought process you used to have to deal with trauma, that you would kill your weakness. No, doesn't work that way. You're not going to get better by killing parts of yourself. So, I get back to this third night and I'm having these visions. I'm seeing interdimensional beings and they're fucking frightening looking. Giant spikes, almost insectoid, alien looking, like, I don't know, man, stuff out of like a Hollywood sci-fi movie. And they don't mean me any harm, but I had to calm my brain and remind myself that this wasn't evil, this wasn't going to hurt me, and just that this is not, you're okay. And when I do that, when I would give in to the visions, the horrific sweat that I was feeling, the heat on my face would go away, and I would feel a cool breeze on my face as I would always turn to the left. That's what I would do, and I would feel this cool breeze on my face. And my heartbeat would slow, and I would feel good, and the pain would go away, and the pain of me needing to puke would go away. And as I was communing, the pain would go away, and I would see these visions. And at times there were different consciousnesses coming in my head. There was one that came in that it wanted to know what a car was like, what it felt like to drive a human car. And it came into my head and was going through my memories, of driving and reliving them. And it had this weird voice. It was trying to say it in Spanish, El Carro, but it didn't have it was like it didn't have the mouth parts to make human sounds. And sometimes they'd speak to me, but it would come off as in like a weird scratching of records and weird sounds you could never imagine. And I felt like my ears couldn't hear, and I'd have to like snap out of it. And whenever the visions would get too much, I'd snap out, and then I'd take a breath and I'd go back in. But there was this overarch, as I said, all these separate things made one thing, and that was her, the medicine. And I asked to see my father, and she said no. She put that idea or wherever he was in a box behind a door, and she kept moving it away from me. And I reached out to her, and she turned to me with this jaguar face. No. This look of no. You don't want what's in it. You can't go there. It's not for you. You don't want to be over there. Tried it again. It was kind of disheartening. And then eventually the lesson I understood is that when someone passes, they're still with you. I can't go to be where they are. But their spirit can still be with you. Because at one time there was this revolving face. It was morphing in between jaguar and feline and human. And it finally, as I keep asking, it shouts out, and usually never uses words to me. It just puts the idea in my head. Telepathically, it goes, it's within you. And I realized all along that the shit I've been looking for, what the medicine had slowly been leading to me in the first 2 days, it's inside. It's inside you, man. Like, and I know my lesson to anyone who's, it's mighty fine to use traveling and hallucinogens and all this other stuff to find the thing you're looking for, but it is inside you. The answer to your pain and anguish involving your family, society, politics, whatever, it's inside. It's on you how you interpret it. And then, I was really debating that fucking second dose, man. I'm having this moment. It's beautiful and it's strong, and I'm like, oh man. And I give it to the Taita. He's so good because they monitor you. Well, at least this guy does. He can see when you're, like, the first 2 nights, there was like the chuma is what they call the medicine, energy of the medicine hadn't fully taken in me. They kept sending help and asking me. It was like I was like, how does he know what's going on in my fucking head? And they talk about how they say when he's taking the medicine, he can see the energy of the medicine, the aura around you. And this time, I'm like, I got to do one more and go to hell in order to get, because there's a feeling of completeness you get when I suffer through that I got those nights. But there's 2 sides to this. There's the vision side and the suffering side. And fuck, like they're like, hey, do you want more? I'm like, in a bit. And I'm like, fuck, if I take this, I'm gonna go to hell. I'm gonna fucking go to hell. And all of a sudden, the shaman looks over at me, and he's at the altar, and he goes, Mike, he's like, your second, he says in Spanish, because I don't speak English, I speak more Spanish now, so that helped. He goes, your second cup. And it's funny, because my friend buddy Cole, who lives there, American guy who helps out, he goes, it's funny, man, because I never told him you were waiting. He just knew. And I had been fighting to figure out if I wanted a second cup. And I knew I had to take one. I was fighting it. And I took it. And Jesus Christ on the cross. Other than like the really worst moments in my life where, things with my dad when he was dying, I've never felt pain like this. The fear that built up to it was horrific. The anxiety of knowing what was coming, and then for it to come, it was 6 hours straight of nonstop fucking panic attacks and pain. And in the middle, it was otherworldly. It was mind-shattering. And I would, towards the end, I would be like, all right, I'm coming off. A little bit of my normal mind would come back. I'd get a glimpse. It was like I'd dip my head out of the ocean, and then, nope, back in it. You're not done. I'd be like, I think I'm getting out. Nope. And when I think I'm getting out is an hour long. It's like 2 hours at least of me doing that. And like, when you need to understand, the time dilation here was the worst I've ever felt. So when I say a minute of pain went long, it was an hour. So those 6 hours was the equivalent of 3 days of So I had food poisoning, horrific, brutal food poisoning, horrific pains every 30 seconds in my insides a month before. This was like that on steroids. Just not stopping. And I'm just like, fucking be present, man. Fight it. Deal with it. I was using every trick, my breathing exercises. I could not. Man, I thought I was going to lose my fucking mind. I thought I was going to start screaming and rolling around in the fucking... It was worse. It was worse than my first time. It was so much worse, and it was so much harder. And Cole warned me. He said, dude, when you have a spiritual falling after you think you're beyond something, the get back up is so much harder. When you get to the top of that mountain you thought you were done hiking, you're just at the foot of the next. And the trials you climb get bigger. And I was like, Jesus Christ, how is it harder than the first time? How? How is it harder? It's harder. It's fucking harder. It's so much harder. And it lasted so much longer. I won't, like, I'll just, like, let you know, man, this was something else. It was insane. It was suffering on a level, like, as it was happening, I remember, like, contemplating if somebody said, do you want to die? if I would take that option out. I was considering it. It was that fucking bad. While it was happening, I remember telling myself, I can't do this again. If I have to endure this again, I will fucking die. This is a pain unbearable. This is what hell feels like. If hell is real, this is it. It's you trying and struggling to hold on to consciousness. And then when you let go to try and give into the medicine like you did before when you got the visions, you go into fucking oblivion. Not a good place. And you're fighting, and I'm fighting, and I'm holding on, and I'm fighting, and it went forever. Forever. And forever. And I would just be like, dude, hold on. Just, you're almost there. I wasn't almost there. I was hours and light years and lifetimes away. And there was lifetimes more worth of pain and anguish. It was physical and mental pain combined into one pain, which I didn't think could fucking happen, but apparently it can. And I just kept saying, hold on. It will pass, it will pass, it will pass. It's too sharp. I was chanting, I was saying the Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. If I could even get the words together, sometimes I couldn't. I was saying prayers, I was chanting, and I was reminding myself, I was pulling every technique. I love you. I kept saying that. I love you, Mike. I love you. Say that to yourself. I don't care if it sounds fucking gay and corny. You need to tell yourself at various points throughout your life, I love you. I love me. Hey, me, person inside me, the kid that was weak, the me that is now, the potential me that will be. I love you. I love you. You need to hear it. You need to hear yourself and feel yourself generally love you. Otherwise, you'll give in. You will fall apart. Those anxieties and things that are teetering on your periphery of your soul will come in and get you. And remind yourself, what do you have? I have the love of my family and my friends. I have people that believe in me. I'm like that close to saying just fucking put a bullet in my head. But I reminded myself, you have love. And I said, you have the love of God. I didn't have a full, saw him moment, but I spoke with the medicine, and I felt him. I felt faith again. I lost my fucking faith. I lost my faith, and I felt it again. Came back. And sometimes I wasn't sure, but let me say this, man. Atheist or not, when you're in the cold, black oblivion inside yourself, and all you feel is pain, nothing but pain. You'll yell out his name. You'll call for something. You will scream for something, whatever it is you want, but you will call for something. God, Buddha, whoever, I don't know, Zeus. You'll call for somebody. That when you are that alone in the pain, so alone. And I know what you're thinking, Mike, why would you do this to yourself? I don't know, man. No, I know. The reason I did it to myself is because the lesson I got. And the lesson I got was what was going on in the world. Because my friend is so the next morning I really, I was still high off the medicine when I went to breakfast, all smiles. And I thought, it's going to stay with me forever like it did last time. For 2 months, it didn't. It eventually passed. That was kind of my lesson, is that but the first time I just got it. First time I went to this place, it stayed with me for weeks and a month even. This new outlook, I felt so different, like the medicine was still in my body. This time I really had to work for it. I didn't get that. And I spoke with other people and they said, it's never as good as your first time, Mike. It never will be. Because you have in your head what you think it's going to be. I in a way manifested a lot of the pain I felt. What the lesson was, these are the lessons I want to share with you, is that what it really hammered to me is that my friend is on his laptop, he's on Twitter, he's talking to me about politics. I'm trying to explain to him, I'm in the fucking jungle, dude. I don't want to. So I'm sitting there after that brutal third night where I had my felt faith again and God and the universe, and like I was a part of something greater than myself, and I felt love again. It's a good feeling. It's good enough for Buddha and Jesus and the prophets. It's good enough for me. And my buddy turns to me and he goes, he's on his laptop. I don't want to reveal too much about his process, but I just got to explain my process in this. Turns to me And he says there was a mass shooting in Alabama and I wanted to fucking hit him. I was so... The fact that he couldn't see that here I am away from all that, working on myself in this moment of splendor. You brought that here. You brought the poison, and that was a lesson of what the internet is and can be. It can be something that brings good into your life. But look at what you watch. You choose who you follow. You cultivate your feed. And I got back on Instagram a few days ago. You know what it's showing me again? Nothing but fight videos. In my suggested reels, it's just human beings beating up other human beings. Why? Why? Like, I don't need this in my life. And this routine, he would show me, hey, guess what? Oh, guess what's happening with politics? Oh, you hear this? And he on his phone, on his nonstop, and it drove me nuts. And I eventually, after our fourth ceremony, his third, I sat him aside and I go, you need to, I don't want to get too deep into what I said, but I have like a heart-to-heart where I go, you're not doing what you need to do. This place can really help you if you do it. And I realized that this stuff ain't for everyone. It's so much harder. If you're listening to this, I'm not advocating for you to do ayahuasca. Because most people, you're going to come up against something that you can't fucking handle. It's not for everyone. You might get there with mushrooms. You might get there with meditation. You might get there with hiking. You might get there with cooking. You meditate while cooking. Whatever it is. There are so many avenues to the top of the mountain. This one is just a tough one that can be done fast. Therapy, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell you these lessons. And the lesson I had to realize is that the internet, social media, I'm bringing this into my life. So if I could just be here staring at the jungle, watching these chickens and these birds and these butterflies. But what is happening is, and I had to be like, don't fucking share that with me. This was an ongoing thing. Don't share I don't want to, I'm listening to your phone calls. I'm listening, if you want to do your thing, do your thing. But don't involve me in it. Because what I saw, at first I got upset that I brought someone because I brought someone I grew up with. So I brought a portion of home with me. And I was distraught because I realized I brought these old feelings and old memories from my life with me. I wasn't escaping. This place wasn't the escape I wanted it to be. And then I realized, well, that's what happened last time, Mike, is when you went back to the quote-unquote real world, you lost. And you went right back into it because you didn't know how to adapt into it. Now you're going through your work, but this is here. It's not like you're not being given the safe space. So you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it in real time. And I was actually really grateful for that. But what you got to realize, man, is if you're getting caught up in politics and all that stuff, because I said to my buddy, I go, look around you, man. You're in the jungle. No transgender shit out here. There's no political transgenderism out here. There's no fucking rainbow flags. There's no MAGA hats. There's no signs. There's no, this house is a house of believes in science. No goofy shit. Just regular people. No feminism. No woke shit. Human beings as they're supposed to be. And it made me fully realize that the culture war back home is manufactured. Now, I'm still going to be on one side of it, in a way. And because there is, if you listen to me, you know my stance on a lot of this stuff. That it's manufactured to destroy the family and destroy the self and cause spiritual harm. But you got to not get caught up in the fight against it because you can lose yourself. Part of what they want is for you to become so militant that you lose your sense of compassion and your sense of love. And so you don't come home. You end up being a crazy, on the brink conspiracy theorist with foam in his mouth, angry, turning red, going, these fucking people, and can you believe what they did? Oh, you can still support your cause. You got to find a way to not consume so much pain and so much anger that's what you become, that you lose, that you can still come home and hug your fucking kids and love your wife and dap your friends up and just be in a good mood because life is still good. Don't let them take that from you. Don't let them take that from you. Look, man, I remember like after that mass shooting in Tennessee, I went online and I looked and I'm watching some transgender fucking freak who's saying, good, we're glad we killed your fucking kids. And I go, Mike, why'd you look this up? You didn't have to look this up. You didn't have to look this up. You're getting high off the pain in some gross way. It's the pain and the anger and all this stuff. It's something to hold on to. Because when you're standing there in the abyss of yourself, in this giant ocean of yourself, as much as you hate it and it causes you pain, it feels real and it feels tangible. And this thing you're holding on to, you're afraid to let go, because what happens if I let go? I think if you let go, that you're just not going to care and you're not going to fight anymore. That if I don't look up every day the news and what's going on, that I'm just, man, I'm not doing my part. That I'm not fighting the fight. Well, you're not fighting the fight. You're just educated, and that's fine. You already agree. I had to have a talk with one of my friends who sends me a lot of stuff, and I go, dude, don't send me videos of people getting beat up. Send me a video, and it's these refugees beating someone up in Ireland. And he goes, this video made me sick. And I go, then why would I watch it? Why would I watch it if it made you... Think about it, man. It made you sick. And you think, hey, I want to make my friend sick? And I'm sure he thinks, no, I don't want to do that. But in a way, you are. You know, like it's because now you're sending it to me. I'm already on your team, buddy. I can't. There's nothing going to happen. What are you waiting? I feel like a lot of people are just waiting for someone to get radical and be like, let's get the bayonets. Well, if that's what you want, then you grow a pair of balls and you do it. Okay? But stop waiting for someone else to do it. You know, like, everyone else is going to wake up. I've liked enough. I've retweeted. I've done, like, you see it with both sides. Like, people on Facebook, Twitter, who are like, even though Elon's here, I still have to come on and do the fight. And they think they're fighting for democracy against the MAGA people. What do you mean? By liking tweets and retweeting and telling someone, like, I hope your kids die? You're not doing anything. You're holding on to something that hurts you. And in that moment when I kept seeing, I'm like, my friend is bringing the world here instead of seeing what's in front of him. And what's in front of us is beautiful. And you can know what's going on and still focus on your life without losing yourself to this stuff. It's manufactured. I'm not saying that it isn't happening. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be frustrated over the fact that, you can't show your kids a movie or you can't send them to school without them being sexualized. And that is something to be concerned about. Okay, so when the time comes, vote for your guy. But beyond that, what can you do? And I got my answer to that. And it was faith. Now hold up. Park your horses there. This isn't the part where I'm going to tell you to go to church. I'm not trying to convert you to any religion, because even I don't really belong to one. I go to Catholic churches when I do go, if I do go, because that's just what I grew up with, and I like the way it feels. Protestantism, I'm sorry. If that's what your thing is, all power to you. It's never felt right at all to me. Like Hinduism, I don't really have Hindu temples where I'm at. The only thing I could ever convert you to is the Church of Mike Bain. And what I approach an MMA style, I approach MMA religion. Mixed martial arts. Remember in the early days of UFC when you'd see a boxer fighting a sumo wrestler? When it'd be like the karate guy versus the taekwondo guy. Different styles. Right? It was the old kung fu movies. You'd be, my kung fu is better than your kung fu. No, we only learn karate at this school. Oh. Everyone had their unique style. We practice crane dick style. I practice butt fuck in the tiger style. And then mixed martial arts showed that the best fighters took something from everything. And that's what I do to faith. I take something from everything. I look at different religions and I go, I like that. I like that aspect of Christianity. I'm going to take that. I like that aspect of Buddhism. I'm going to snatch that. I really like this aspect of Shintoism where everything has a spirit, because I think everything has a spirit. I think that if I put my energy into something, You ever been in a room someone was in where something bad happened, you feel the fucking energy? It's real. It's not fake. It's not crystals and bullshit. It's real. If you get a car and you smash a car because you hate your car every day, it's gonna behave in a shitty manner. So that's like, I firmly believe that. Like if you, like I don't show compassion to machines, and I know how hippie this sounds, but I believe everything has a spirit, and it gets a spirit the second you put it there. The second you decide your phone is a focus of your life, it gets a spirit. And if you deposit your negative energy into it, it will become that. If you deposit your positive energy, all machinery, all mechanisms, plants, all of it, I think, can have a spirit, because you have energy and you put energy into it, and there is good energy and there is bad energy. There is a yin and yang. So just like keep that in mind for what you use in life. I'm not telling you to go Ted Kaczynski and just swear off technology, but be aware. Like look through your, I logged into a page and all my stuff was just like, hey, look at how we're losing the fight, we're losing the war, Western civilization is dying. I do think it's dying. Rome is on the back end, but this is what I have to convey to you. Be in the moment. And remember that this too shall pass. This is a lesson I got that I have to share. Whatever you're in, listen to me, whatever you're going through, whoever you are listening to this, whether you're going through something, you're worried about your kid, you're worried about your wife, you're worried about your job or your house or your in-laws, you're worried about your fucking dick, your bald head, your whatever, you're worried, you're going through something. It will pass. And if it's not the sort of thing that just naturally passes, then you have to do something and then it will pass. Well, maybe you need to get a divorce. Maybe you need to quit your job. Maybe you need to move to a new town or a new state or a new country. Or maybe you just need a new house. But you need to do something. If you going, it'll pass, and it's not passing, means there's something you have to actively do. And when you actively do something, it will pass. But whatever you're going through, the pain you're in, the suffering, it will pass. Trust me, I know. I spent a lifetime in the jungle feeling pain I didn't know that a human soul could feel. But it'll pass. It will pass. Be in the moment. You don't get, I think there's something else after this, but this type of life, the life we're living now, you get one of them. So decide. On the way, do I want to enjoy the process and be present for the things? I'm not one of these like workaholic guys that's going to tell you every second of your life you have to be fighting for this dream. Alpha motivation. Ugh, fuck, if you ain't sleeping 2 hours a night and you're up in the morning fucking beating your meat, fucking telling your wife, shut up, bitch, I'll hug you when it's time to hug you. Alpha daddy has to work 52 hours in a single day. 830 hours in a week. Never stop. No, I'm sorry. That's not my method, because if you do that, you won't enjoy this chance. I want to enjoy every year of my life, because you know what all this taught me? Life's damn beautiful. All right? And the bad shit, it will pass. And the way I got out of this feeling of the world is collapsing, my country is falling apart, because let's be honest, regardless of where you are on the spectrum, politically, no one has a good outlook for where we're going. No one thinks that we're going to ever be what we were in the 20th century. We're just not. You just know that. You look at our politicians, you don't feel inspired. You look at our government, you feel no trust. Look at our big businesses, and you know they're out to get you. And it's tough. It's tough to face that. And so I said earlier that people were hitting me up. Mike, what do I do? I'm feeling this way. I don't know. What am I do? I had to take. I don't know if I can keep working. I had to take personal days. I'm hurting. 2 things: community and the metaphysical. And by the metaphysical, I'll use the word faith. All right, but I really if you're atheist, man, I don't want to scare you off. If you're spiritual, that's fine. I'm not. I want this. Don't, just because you don't like God or religion, Don't throw out the beauty that is spiritual and metaphysical. Don't, because you need it. Your soul needs it. And what I mean by those two things, human beings are not meant to be alone. And I've heard from so many people who've come or visited the U.S., England, Western Europe, from other countries, is how lonely it feels. It feels so lonely. You know, I'm staying with this shaman, and he lives there. His wife lives there. She cooks for us. There's a bunch of kids there, grandkids. The daughter just came home, youngest daughter with her new baby. There's another daughter there with her husband and her kids. There's the wife's sister-in-law. No, the wife's sister is there with her husband, and someone else's sister, like another wife, is there with another guy. And this is a giant family of people, interconnected, a family, a real family, not just that nuclear family bullshit. Conservatives really don't get their dicks hard for the 1950s, for this nuclear family, and without acknowledging that led to where we are now. They want to smoke the meth, but they don't want the broken teeth. You want the high, but you don't want the fall. And the reality is you can't have either. You know, one made the other. One led to the other. The obsession over big business and consumerism led to the other. And, it's wild, dude. I saw a 7-year-old during ceremony. I saw kids doing this stuff with me. One of the guys that brought me to a bunch of kids hanging out in a log one day, he gave them a shit ton of coca leaves to chew, which give you a little rush. These are what they use to make cocaine. And the kids are each chewing a bunch of leaves. And they're showing off their combo scars, which is where you're burned, and they put frog poison in to make you puke and purge. These kids are showing me 8 scars, and they're like, look at how many I have. They're so proud to show me, and I was too much of a pussy to do it once. I did bee sting therapy. I let them stick 3 African bee stings in my spine. Meanwhile, I watched the Taita, and my buddy who was staying there, who is lives there full time, another American, him and Taita got 78 in his spine. My other buddy, he got about 80 at least in his chest, in his neck, in his sides. They say it really activates the immune system and causes your body to flush stuff out. I don't know if it works, but it seems to work. If you believe, there's one thing I can tell you, is if you believe it, it is real. If you believe it, it is real. If you believe something's helping you, it's real. So community and the metaphysical. My community, you gotta have, it can't just be, it's me, my wife, and the kids. You gotta have guys to hang out with. Fuck it, I'll say it. You need a safe space for dudes, and you need a safe space for bitches. I don't care. It's important for men to go have a place where they sit around and burp and fart and drink beer, and it's just awful, nasty, terrible, just sitting around being like, would you fuck I'd fuck her. I'd fucking, is there grass in the field? I'll fucking stick her face in a toilet. Fuck her. We need that. You need that. You do need that. And women need a place where they can go and just talk their talk and do whatever. Oh my God, my husband was fucking me. His dick is like this now. And do you like this new thing? No, I don't. Oh, did you hear about the girl lives 2 houses over? That fucking hoe. We need that. You need that. It's so important. You need it. You really need it. And they are trying to destroy that. Because when community is destroyed, and American communities have been destroyed over and over and over and over again, when you destroy community, people are alone. They lose their willpower. They don't want to stand together and fight. They lose their backbone. They lose something that makes them whole. A beautiful feeling of community and strength, and they're more likely to submit. And the other thing is, when you're separated from the metaphysical, there's something in this world beyond the tangible that you can touch. It's out there, man. And I if you don't believe me, try and look. Try and look. Go on a hunger strike, fast. Go in a sweat lodge, do hallucinogens. Try different stuff. Meditate intently at a temple. All of these different cultures, all of these different histories have all come to this same inescapable sense that there's something out there. And so this is where I come back to the concept of faith. The way I finally got over this pain of the world's falling apart, how do I raise a family in a world that's dying? What do I do? The future is nothing but dark clouds and pain and suffering, as if there weren't generations who had the same thing on the horizon and worse than I do. Faith. I remember one of the nights when I'm hurting, I'm beyond hurt, and I remember thinking to myself about this guy, a Spanish conquistador, explorer, whatever. He was on a Spanish boat. He ended up getting shipwrecked or thrown off or lost, and he ended up being a slave for these indigenous people near the Colombian coast, actually, of Panama. Ended up being a slave for years. He was good for 15 years. He was, he finally escaped. He ended up living with another tribe for a while, and one day he gets discovered by some explorers. They go, what are you fucking doing here, huh? Who is this guy? And he's like, I'm from Spain too, and I've been a slave, and life's been pretty fucking awful for 15 years. And they're like, dude, how did you do it? You've been tortured. They nearly killed you. They debated killing you so many times. How did you not just give up hope? And he said, my faith in God and Christ. Now that's his faith. Yours doesn't have to be God and Christ, but he had something to look to, and I had something to look to when I was like, I think I'm going to die tonight. As I meet a lot of people who talk the talk but don't walk the walk. I'm not telling you to go to church or nothing. Let me re-emphasize that. The faith can be in your family. It can be in that life is beautiful. The faith can be in yourself. The faith can be in a God. The faith can be in the universe. But you have to have some sense of faith. A sense of faith in Buddha, in Krishna, in whoever, in Muhammad, in Allah, in I don't know, man, come up with your own thing, but a sense of faith that life will find its way to work out, that you will still feel joy even in the suffering, and that no matter what happens, you will survive, no matter how bad the world gets. Maybe the government collapses. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. That's another thing, is that maybe all these psychos who are doing this new age stuff and are poisoning our world and our water and the minds of our children, maybe people finally get fed up and they turn on them. Maybe it gets, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. So stop telling yourself that you know, because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. Okay, maybe things change and we become more traditional. We make a new way of doing things. The past ain't going to come back. What does happen might be similar to the past, but it might be different. It will always be different. But you don't know. You don't know. So stop telling yourself that you know. That you know what's going to happen in the world, because you don't. You don't, man. I'm sorry. You just fucking don't. And even if you have a good idea, you have that's how you get out of this. That's how I got out of this, is faith. I have my personal faith is that there is some universal, is this. It's not that God just made the universe. My belief is that God is the universe. He is us and we are him. It is all interconnected. I'm a part of something greater than myself, and it feels good to think that. And I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong, but believing what I believe makes me feel better. It makes me smile when I wake up in the morning and be happy to be alive. It makes me nicer to my girlfriend. It makes me nicer to my mother. It makes me nicer to my brother and my friends. It makes me a better person. So if it's wrong or right, I'm gonna believe it. And I implore you to do the thing that makes you better, even if you don't know. You don't have to know. You're a human being. You're a tiny little thing. You don't get to know, but you can hope and you can believe. And maybe in a way you do know. It is real enough to you. But when I say that metaphysical, and that's my belief, is that God is the universe. He's not some guy with white hair and a bald head. He's not we apply our restrictions and concepts to them. He's not sitting there with a checklist going over, well, I'm going to give this woman cancer and I'm going to save this guy from this tractor. You know, I know some people view it that way. Maybe that's fine for you. I don't view it that way. There is just a natural roller coaster of life. And we are cells within a cosmic being, consciousness, neurons, and a cosmic psyche. All of us making this up as a part of this. I was born of this. I will go back to it. My end is not a permanent end. It's just a transition. My energy will go somewhere. My atoms will go somewhere. It all goes somewhere. Do I go with it? Maybe I like to imagine a portion of me would have to go with it. In some manner of speaking, I might not remember what I was before, but so what? It's a doorway, baby. That's a doorway. And that makes me feel better to think that, because I've thought the opposite. Spent more of my life being an atheist, and when I say an atheist, there's a problem with atheism in that people believe that just because I don't believe in God means I don't have to believe in anything, that it's all mumbo jumbo. No, man, you want to not go to church, that's fine. You want to not believe in God, that's fine. But humans need a metaphysical, and the powers that be don't want you to have this, because if you have this thing you tap into, you don't need to buy all their bullshit. You don't need to buy all this stuff to fill the emotional holes inside you. You learn to take better care of yourself because your spiritual health is linked to your mental health and your physical health. And as you become healthy, you go, I'm not going to eat McDonald's anymore. And then they don't make as much money on you because now your organs are better. And they don't have to give you all these fucking pills. And they don't have to do these weird surgeries. You don't have to tuck your tummy because you love yourself and you're better. It'll pass. Whatever pain you're going through, it will pass. And even when times get dark, there is a silver lining. Maybe the world crashes. Maybe the economy goes to shit and the dollar collapses. And one day the U.S. government's like, you're just on. You know, it'll be like Rome and Britain. A lot of people, if you don't know the history of Rome and Britain, Rome and Britain was a place that the Romans conquered England, right, from the Celts there, and they kind of Romanized some of them, and they would take tin from this place, which they used to make bronze. And, you know, it wasn't an easy metal to find, but you could find it especially in southern England. But it was always cost more to garrison troops there than it did for the money they made off it. And so it was always a problem. You know, they'd stick somebody up there to be governor and he'd have too many legions and then he'd bring them down trying to attack Rome. It happened over and over again. And eventually, as Rome was really biting the dust, I forget which emperor said it. He sent them a letter and he said, look to yourselves for protection. And they pulled out and they just left them. I don't know. And they just and the Anglo and the barbarians poured in, the Angles and the Saxons. And no longer was this state there to make sure that their currency was worth anything. Now, those are trying times. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. Is it a possibility? Maybe. A lot of people seem to think the world's going to end tomorrow. But there's always a silver lining. Maybe the silver lining is that people start more small communities, right? As they get tired of the corporate propaganda and the woke propaganda, start their own schools. Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't get to watch movies like you did in the 80s. But fuck it, Hollywood was always trash. It was never good for you. It was just, you just took the poison in a flavor that you liked. But it was always poison. Now you just see that it's poison because they don't hide it in a way that you can consume it anymore. And eventually you realize, I don't need that many movies. I got the ones I like, but I'm going to spend time with my kids. I'm a hike. When I play baseball, I like baseball. I'm going to be a good pool player. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play Unreal. Remember that game? It's like 12 years old. I'm going to play that again. Doesn't matter. You figure it out. You take up an instrument. You do something. There is a silver lining. There is a silver lining. I promise you. I know I'm being repetitive here, but I know so many people who are so distraught, and I have to tell them over and over again. You got to have faith. faith that you will get out of whatever life puts in front of you, faith that your family will get through it, faith that no matter how much pain you feel, you will still feel pleasure, and faith that even at times when you feel like you've lost everything, you will still find a reason to live. It will pass. And the lesson that I learned is sometimes you just have to endure it. I came away with something pretty positive. The person who came with me, it didn't work for him. It was too much. And that's his own thing, and I don't want to hop on that. But I saw it. I realized right then and there, not everyone is going to handle this the same way. But my lesson was endurance. You got to endure. And I know sometimes it feels like you can't endure anymore, but you just got to, because that's what people do. But also, a lot of the stuff you think you're enduring, you're inventing. You're inventing because you invite it into your life. If I'm sitting down on my couch and I let some guy who calls me a fat, ginger-headed cunt to aggravate me, this guy might be in a cellar in Milwaukee, for all I know, with a dildo up his ass. I don't know, but I'm going to let this goofball sitting there with his Japanese throw pillow that he cut a hole in and likes to bust his smelly nut in. I'm going to let this goofy fucking stinky bastard affect me? No, motherfucking no. I will endure. I will survive. You will survive. And you will endure. Be in the moment. Be in that moment as best you can and have faith. I'm telling you, it might be religion. Maybe is the way for you to go, but it's something. Maybe it's just your spiritual. I also really like the pagan way, which all pagan faiths found it in nature. Like the pagans of Europe had their trees, like those trees with faces on it in Lord of the Rings. That's where that comes from. They would worship their god trees. Go into nature. I'm telling you, man, when I climb a mountain, when I'm in nature, I feel closer to the universe. I feel closer to God. I feel closer to myself. And I feel closer to the people I've lost in my life. Because I see this expanse and it lets me know how vast it all is and that I'm a part of it and they're out there in it. Don't get so caught up in the meaning of life. Just accept that you're here. And it's pretty good. One of the lessons I got, man, so like the fourth and fifth time I did it, I had some hard times. One time there was a baby, 2-year-old, in the hammock next to me crying. Last night I did it, the fourth and fifth night, I spent 6 hours playing drums in the circle. Dude, I'm clapping. Mike fucking Bain from South Boston, who couldn't hold a tune to save his life, is playing drums. People are like this family. I'm with them and I'm playing drums and I'm shaking maracas and I'm clapping my hands. And we're just having a grand old, I did something and it was tough for me to sit there and not go back to the hammock because it feels like the energy is so intense. You feel like you have to lay down. I endured it. And I sat there and I watched the sun come up. One of the dogs came to play with me. I remember, it reminded me of a Les Brown speech called Giving. If you get the chance, look it up. It's like 8 minutes, and he talks about giving. It's so important to give. It's so important to give. It makes you a better person. Your life is better when you give. Remember this. You don't have to give, give something, your time, your effort, something. Okay? Because when a man, this is from a book called The Prophet. I think Gibran wrote it. When a man gives of his physical possessions, he gives but little. But when a man gives of himself, he gives everything. Giving your time, a piece of yourself, your compassion, your knowledge is giving everything. A lot of people don't give because they don't believe that they have anything to give. When you give, you are a vector for the universe. Its energy will flow through you. You have something to give. And it makes you feel better about yourself. And when I was really hurting one night, the dog came up to me. This poor buddy, Bugger had been lost for 2 months, and now he's afraid to be alone. He'd been lost for 2 months in the jungle, terrified to be alone. I stopped petting him because the locals don't pet dogs. The dogs are their friends, but they're not, they're not as important as they are here. The dogs are always afraid of getting hit. They're always put their heads down. I started petting him. I was like, let me give you some love and some compassion. As I pet him, his head rose, and it made me feel better. Now, granted, he was like, you're going to pet me for the next hour, motherfucker. And I did until my arm was so tired I had to stop. But, once he got a pet, he was like, I'm not letting this go. What was I saying? But give. I'm telling you, learn to give. Have some compassion. It doesn't make you weak. I'm not telling you not to be a bad motherfucker. If somebody fucks with you or your family, put them down. But have that side. Don't make that the only side to you, because the people who love you need the other side of you. You have to be both. Yin and yang. Strength, determination, meanness, compassion, and love. That's how you make the full man. Or full woman. Not the full non-binary, but... And, endure, baby. As I was saying with my last nights, like I felt safe. Because when you do this stuff, you will feel safe. A lot of times, your frustration and your anger and all the stuff you're going through, you don't feel safe because you don't have a community. You don't feel safe because there isn't a metaphysical, a thing you feel like you're a part of. A universe, a God, a faith, or whatever it is. A mystical thing. You're not a part of it. You just feel alone. And when a human being feels alone, they feel vulnerable. Human beings aren't meant to feel alone. You get scared. You're vulnerable. You're on edge. It's like I used to be on edge when I spent so much time in the New York subway. I'm alone. I'm riding late night. People want to rob me. Maybe this motherfucker wants to fight me because his life sucks. So you get on edge. And that's what happens when you're lonely. You're on edge. And so when you meet a new person who could be a friend and could be someone in your life, you're negative towards them. You're aggressive. Because you're lonely. You get aggressive. You mean it when you meet some bum on the train. Why is this prick so aggressive? Well, he sleeps in his own piss and he's lonely. So he's aggressive. Makes enemies before he needs enemies. And anyway, that last night, I didn't feel lonely. There was a baby next to me. It was weird. Little baby coughing, mama, because there was two parents there who were doing it, and they brought their kids, 4 and 2. It was tough. It was like I had a moment where I was really feeling it, and I was like not feeling too great, and all I hear is lightning. There is the main shaman left, and so his apprentice did it. And I was worried because his apprentice doesn't play as much music. There was a lot of silence. The silence, man. Oh baby, when you're hurting, and it's silent. Just the silent and the sound of the jungle. It is. I would plead and beg for no more music. And when the music would come, I'd be like, oh, it's better, but it's not. And then when the music would stop, I would be scratching my skin and my joints would be bursting. I'd be making these weird shapes with my hands because I couldn't straighten my fingers. I'd be gripping my hammock to the point where I'd be ripping the fabric. Please, music, please, I can't. I'm going to die. But this night was not that night. I never had the visions, never fully had the ayahuasca back in my brain, the consciousness, like that third night. But there was lightning and there was rain. I would take my shirt off and go out into the rain, and I learned something. But how beautiful the moment is. I learned something staring into the jungle. What's beautiful about mountains, the ocean, jungle, now, is that it doesn't matter. You don't need to do anything to it. There's no upgrade for it. I need to download a patch. I need to get the new mod. I need to make this better. I need more. Because that's what you're doing when you're on your phone, when you're looking up porn. I found the best porn video. I need more. I need a better one. I need more. Well, this one's pretty good. I need more. I need more food. I need more women. I need more adoration. I need more. But you just stare at a mountain. You know what's beautiful about it? Is that whether it's 5 minutes in or 15 hours and it's still just as beautiful as it was. The thing you have to fight is the fact that you get used to it. I get used to it. I say you a lot. Which is a bad habit because I'm dumping it on other people. I'm just trying to, if you're listening, help you empathize with me, but it's me. All these times I said you, it's me. These are things I've done and I do. I take full responsibility for who I've been, who I am, and what I will be. And when you stare at something beautiful, you wake up and you have your life, but you've woken up thousands of days, hundreds of thousands of days. So it's like, whatever. It's still beautiful, man. Don't allow the fact that you are used to something to destroy its beauty. You wake up, you live in the ocean, you stare at the ocean. The best part is it's still there. You're not going to wake up one day and the ocean's gone. It'd be very tough for that to happen. But it's not often you have to worry about waking up in the mountain range near your house being gone or the ocean outside being gone. But you wake up and it's still there. And it doesn't matter if it's your 5th year in this world or your 50th year in this world. It's still beautiful. It's still amazing that you get to see it. And it's still a privilege that you get to live and be around this. And it's still a privilege that you get life. And the more you stay in the moment, the more beautiful it becomes. I guess, you know what, I'm going to stop wrapping up and I'll wrap off with another thing. Some of the other things I got, messages were just, at one point I told you about how it said to me, Mike, it's inside. And also it said, hey, Mike, you're in pain. A lot of us are in pain. I've been in pain. And it said flat out, it goes, you're in pain. Your dad died. You couldn't hug your mom. You're in pain. You're in pain. It's okay. A lot of us are hurting for something that we never let ourselves hurt for. It's okay. It's okay to hurt. It is okay to hurt and be fucked up, because I'm fucked up too. And the other thing I got was at one point, and I realized how this little pain, it's not a little pain, but this pain I was going through caused so much other problems in my life. And all of a sudden a primal voice in the back of my head while I'm trepping in this process goes, I want to come in my girlfriend. And I go, what? It was just like this fucking, I want to fucking come. I want to come inside. And this part of my primal lizard brain got a voice and it was like, because we're not coming inside. We're not ready for kids. I'm not there yet. So it's not something I get to do, but it's something I want to do. And my primal brain was like, I'm a man. I'm a man. And what does a man do? I come inside. I just need to hold someone down and come inside of them. This is what I fucking need. Give me what I fucking need. I want to fucking hold someone down and come inside of them. I swear to God, this voice was screaming in my head and I was like, oh shit. Like it's like when you let a fart out. It was so relieving. I go, oh my God. I'm a little frustrated because I just need to hold someone, I need to hold like that feeling I get, that like sense of millions of years of primal accomplishment when I just hold a girl down and just pump it into her. Every fucking ounce of aggression and energy and sexual frustration, and then I know this got graphic, but I went through that. And I realized that we fight what we are. We fight our urges. Everything in life is a balance. You don't have to be a hoe. You don't have to be complete degenerate. But find a balance where you take care of but don't be the other guy. Don't be I'm just, fully celibate because I won't until marriage. And, if that works for you. But find a balance. All life is a balance. Find your balance. Those needs, those millions of years old primal needs that we deny in our modern society that we think we're above, we are not above. You need to listen to those because that's in there. And it was caught, and I realized this little pebble of, I want a nut. I want, Mike, caveman, Mike, not good. Not in, bitch. Come hard. Come on, face. Come inside, make baby. Mike, make baby, need make baby, life. Meaning of life, make more kids. That voice. You can ignore it all you want, but I heard that voice and holy shit, I go, wow, this caused other issues. The other thing I got about compassion, at one point when I'm really on the medicine, it's showing me that it's, it's makes so many cats and I guess a lot of feline stuff. I saw it kind of morphing and like it was testing me and what, it was like, hey, I'm a lady. And then it grew a beard and I was like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, does this make you uncomfortable, Mike? It's not like it was telepathically doing this. going, I am the yin and yang. I am all, masculine and feminine. And I was like, oh, fucking what the fuck? And even now, it followed me down here, and I was like, oh, well, you have to deal with this. Just deal with it. It's there. Accept it. Get over it. But it showed me, what the fuck's that guy's name? Dylan Mulvaney. There was a whole thing about Bud Light. Dylan Mulvaney is become like the spokesman for the transgender movement. And let me just give you some background on this fella. And now I am misgendering him. I don't fucking care because I think he's not real. He's a real person, but Dylan was a amateur attempted Broadway actor, extremely gay, extremely flamboyant. Wanted attention, wanted to be a star, which usually comes from something in your childhood. I know, I'm a comedian. I know where it comes from. Wanted love and adoration and acceptance and didn't get it, didn't make it. So you can find a video of him on The Price is Right where he's going absolutely ecstatic, next level, jumping around, making a spectacle of himself because you got to look up this video on YouTube. Dylan Mulvaney on Price is Right. Lose it, like a real spectacle because he wants attention. And then he found it. He found it because on TikTok, he did this thing where he goes, day 1 of being a woman, day 2, down all the way up to a year of being a woman. And he still calls himself a she, they. He doesn't even fully think he's a woman. He is masquerading as a joke. It is attention. And it worked. He's met with the President of the United States, met with the federal government, has made an untold amount of money in endorsement deals, has millions of followers, has been on late night shows, has been on across media, TV, social media, everywhere. His dreams came true, and all he had to do was just pretend to become a woman, and society feeds into it because for people with weak moral constitutions and no faith, they believe that if I do this thing that makes me good, I'm a good person, so I have to support him. Now, as I said about faith and all that, there's been an attempt to recreate faith and religion in a materialistic way. You see it in the more progressive sectors of the world, where their moral compass of wokeness becomes their 10 commandments, but it's ever changing. And it is like an inquisition where what was woke enough 3 years ago is not woke enough now. You have not purged yourself. You have not done enough. It is, the communistic purging is nothing more than a right-wing radical religious purging. You purge and you purge and you purge until there's less people and less people. And they're never good enough. You're not woke enough. Oh, you're always, oh, you supported fucking this, they, them? Well, get ready to support Z Key. And you're like, well, I don't really know if that's, and you're like, Nazi. And you're like, well, I'm not. And it keeps going. And when I saw this, I realized the medicine was testing me because I don't like this person. Okay? I don't like that he's given such a high, thing in society. And then Bud Light did a sponsorship for him and it backfired. People started dumping out their Bud Light. Kid Rock famously shot cans of Bud Light with a machine gun. Just a lot of stuff happened. People were like, fuck Bud Light, which I actually endorse, which is by making Bud Light activities a phrase for sissy stuff, you hurt their brand, you hurt their company. If you, in a world of materialism where corporations matter, at the end of the day, you hurt them by hurting their pocketbooks. You hurt their bottom dollar. So do that shit. If you meet a company that you think is doing wrong or promoting bad stuff, don't use their shit. Don't. It's all you can do is the little things. Anyway, I had this realization. I have this anger towards this person I've never met, right? Because I can't get away from him. And the medicine made me realize to have compassion towards this person. To have empathy towards this person. Suddenly I was filled with compassion and empathy for Dylan Mulvaney. Somebody before I had been like, ugh, gross, fucking asshole, go away. And what I realized is that this person and people like him and so many people who are lost souls and on this weird, as I said, false religious purge, they're broken souls. This is someone who's in pain. This is someone who's made a mockery of themselves for attention on a global scale. Imagine what pain, what loneliness, what trauma this Dylan is feeling to get to this point, to subjugate himself. It's like the early days of the internet with Jackass, when you'd watch somebody like eat shit or get kicked in the balls for attention. Like, I used to watch the show The Dudesons, and they'd just like be hammering nails in their legs and kicking each other in the balls, and in the really old days of Jackass, and you realize that these guys just want attention. They just want, like, they're mutilating themselves and hurting themselves and abusing themselves, and that's what Dylan's doing for attention, and he's getting it. So why wouldn't he do it? You know, why do so many young people do stuff that harms them? Because they get attention, and all you want is attention. Because as I said, there's nothing worse than being alone. When you don't have the metaphysical, you're alone. You're alone in the universe. You're alone in your own body. You don't share it with any other thing. When you're alone, physically, you're alone from a community. You don't have a tribe. You don't have guys you go out bowling with or hanging out with. You don't have a crew of dudes who you spend time with. It's just you alone in the cul-de-sac. You come home, there's the wife, there's the kids. You can't fully connect with them. You love them and you spend time with them, but you want to go fucking shoot some shit and stick an M80 up a fucking bullfrog's asshole, Joe Dirt. And I realized that hurt people need, that's what this is. There isn't this, bastion of evil. There's people who've been hurt by a fucked up society that is hell-bent on loneliness and consumerism because it maximizes profit. Pain and suffering maximizes their profit, so they inflict pain and suffering on people in a physical sense with poison food and fluoride, and with a spiritual sense with loneliness and the destruction of family and tradition and history. And my objective isn't, and I used to think, well, we just got to get rid of them all. No. What you got to do isn't get rid of all these people. I want to convert them. I want to show them that there's something beautiful that I've got over here, and I hope you can get help too, because I've been fucked up. And it all comes out in different ways. We're all, people ask me what the U.S. is like. I always say the Western world, U.S., Canada, Australia, Western Europe, it's a land of really hurt people who aren't allowed to feel their pain and get fixed. I don't care if that sounds like hippie shit. I know it is. Because no one would walk into a school and try and kill people if they weren't fucked up in the head and in pain, and that pain wasn't being blotted out with SSRIs. Because they're all on SSRIs. You don't believe me? Look it up. They don't talk about that. The issue's just guns. The guns are just an avenue for the mental illness. We get rid of the guns and we don't have to see the mental illness as much. But it's still there. It'll come out in truck attacks and knife attacks and bombs, physical fights in the street. It'll be there. I realize that these people who I viewed as enemies are just really hurt. I mean, you look at one of these like Antifa rallies, look at their mugshots. These are deformed people, deformed souls who, if they had just been loved and cared for and had grown up in a community, they wouldn't exist. They would be something else healthier. There's a reason these exist in the Pacific Northwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maine, in these places where people don't feel a sense of community. They're lost in the consumerism and the strip malls and the Walmarts and the corporate chains. There's no, I'm trying to explain to my girl down here that when we go out, it's different in the U.S. Like, I go out here, there are chain restaurants, but there are so many mom and pop stores, all the bars, they're not corporate. I go, that's amazing. It's beautiful. Like, I walk into this place and the guy had someone translate for me. He's like, I want you to feel welcome here. This is a community, this space, this society. You're welcome here. He shook my hand, and I was like blown away. You don't get that at Olive Garden. When you're here, your family, suck my dick. I want to, I want some fucking big fat guinea who goes, hey, gabagool, hey, Mikey, hey, it's fucking Tony, and I want you to know when you're here, your family, hey, paisano, hey, that's what I want. It's not Olive Garden. Fuck you. So I realized that there's so many people who are just hurt by the world they live in, who are fucked up, and the system is working that way on purpose. And to have compassion. Because the more I get angry and the more I hate, the worse a person I am to everyone around me. And the worse I am at being a podcaster, a comedian, a brother and a friend, a content creator, a YouTuber. You know, the more I let down my God, and I'm watching these videos and I'm realizing that at that moment during COVID, my God was up bad during that time in history, for lack of a better word. I mean, technically it is. My God was up so bad. And I had to let it down. And in letting it down, I became a kinder person. I know this was, I took coming on 2 hours, so I'm going to wrap this up. I know this was a lot. If you listen this far, thank you. I just, I had it in my head that I had to give. I had to share. Now, maybe you listen to all this and you think, Mike, it's a load of fucking bullshit. You were tripping in the jungle. You actually shit a lot because I couldn't puke, funny enough. I was, third night, the night where I was in hell, I resigned myself to puking and shitting myself in my hammock. It got so bad, the pain and because it heightens every feeling. You feel like you're going to shit. Oh, you feel like you're going to shit. Feel like you're anxious. Oh, you feel like you're going to die. Feel like you're going to puke. You feel like your guts are going to come out your throat. And I am forcing myself in the jungle. Dude, it's a nightmare. I'm wiping my ass. My fingers go through the toilet paper, tripping balls to the point where I don't know who I am, and I'm dying. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Washing my hands, like, oh, I can smell it. I'm like, oh, I still can't puke. Take the clean fingers, try and puke myself. I can't. I finally, when I'm in the hammock, I realize it comes to me. For 3 days, Mike, you wanted to puke and you have not once puked on your own. You forced it every time. Every time you forced it. And I realized you're sitting here worrying about puking because you feel like you're going to puke in the hammock. It's going to happen. Yet you can't puke. You've tried. Every time you go into the jungle, you leave the temple, you can't do it. You shove your fingers down your throat, and you still can't get a full puke. So guess what? It's not going to happen. This fear I had, it wasn't real. I didn't puke. I wish I did. Might have been the food poisoning. My gut is kind of fucked up ever since then. But either way, I wasn't going to. And I lived with this fear of something that was going to happen. And in the fear of it, I attempted to make it happen when it was never going to happen. And I didn't shit myself in the hammock. I didn't puke myself. And once I resigned myself where if it happens, it happens, it was such a relief. If bad shit happens in the world, it happens. You can't stop it. You're one man. You're one woman. So hang in there. Hold on tough, hold fast, and be prepared, and enjoy the ride. And have some faith, and find some community. Whatever you got to do, man, go volunteer, go join a bowling league. I don't care if you think it's corny and dumb. Everything, I've been taught that all the things that are good for me are gay, corny, and dumb. Well, they ain't. They're not. I like being happy. I like being a better person. I like having love in my heart. It's a hell of a lot better than the alternative because I lived the alternative for longer than I've lived this way. And I know what that feels like. You're not alone. Shit, man, even if at least I'm here. You know, maybe, remember this voice if you're ever at a point where you're like, and I'm like, that's kind of narcissistic on my end, but whatever. Whatever it is. I found myself remembering Les Brown's voice. Just find something, a video you like. I was remembering this goofy Instagram where this guy pretended to, it's hard to explain, but he's pretending to get a blowjob from a deaf girl, and then he farts, and she goes, meow, what is that? And he's like, oh, I just didn't, the whole gist of the video is like he was like, oh, she won't hear me fart because she's deaf, but then she smelled it. It was fucking raunchy as fuck. It was so funny. Oh, it was so funny. And it made me chuckle. It made me chuckle in my hammock when I was losing it. And the more I got inside myself, it sounds so fucking weird and gay, Mike. The more I found peace in the moment, the more I could just sit there and chuckle and laugh about things. Be in the moment, as much as society and the world tries not to be. Be present. If you're there with your kids, be with your kids. If you're there at lunch with someone, don't be on your phone. I promise you, whatever you're looking for there isn't better than what's in front of you. I promise you. You're just bored with what's in front of you because you got used to it. Don't get used to it. Don't ever get used to life. Don't ever get used to living, used to breathing air. Here's another one that helps. This one took me some time. I should have did this early in the podcast. I don't eat without watching something on YouTube or TV. And it dawned on me. Why might I just eat with nothing? Try it. And it's going to be tough, but just try it. Because, dude, eating is a privilege. The most animals spend their entire lives just trying to make sure they have food to survive. They're nearly starving all the time. There are so many people in this world who don't have food to eat. They're on the verge of starvation. And we live in a world where I can just have food. I can go out and buy food. I'm so lucky. Being in the moment makes you realize how lucky you are. And the things you think suck because they're not as good as what they are on Instagram, they are good. And eating this food, this is an event. The cheeseburger you're eating, that's its thing. And if it's good, enjoy it. If it sucks, well, at least it's food. And how do I get food that doesn't suck? But don't watch something while you're eating. Enjoy the moment. Concentrate on the steak, the food, whatever. And it's hard to do when you're alone. But just sit there in solitude, eat your cornflakes with nothing, eat your bologna sandwich with nothing, and just say, this is what I'm doing. I promise you'll get a sense of peace. Now, you're going to have to give up excitement, but excitement isn't happiness. And excitement comes with tremendous highs and tremendous lows. It's exciting to be a dirtball fucking cheat, to maybe get some side pussy, but it doesn't feel good when you get caught, does it? Does it now? No, it doesn't. I can tell you it doesn't. You know what feels nice and peaceful? Being loyal to the person you've committed yourself to. A lot of people fighting adulthood out there. You know, it's not exciting. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is exciting. You just got to find the exciting things. It's not, it's not you picking up a bag of cocaine, but it might be you climbing a mountain in wintertime. It can be exciting if you want it to be. Be in the moment. Love yourself. Meditate. Breathe. Realize what you're consuming. The media you consume is like the food that you put in your body. And if you put Taco Bell in your body every day, you're going to get the shits. And if you put bad media in your brain every day, you will get mental diarrhea. And no one wants to hang out with the person with mental shits. Just spewing because you open your mouth. Because once you have pain, you have to spread pain. Because people go online and they see a video of something horrible and they go, I got to share this. Don't share that video of the cat getting stepped on. You don't, because you want to get it out, because this pain is inside you. And what I've realized is pain you want to get out. These fucked up people who are going out protesting and burning shit and making life when they would stand there in 2020 with their protests. I need to make your car stop to make you miserable. They need to spread their pain. That bum on the subway who starts a fight with you needs to spread his pain. People so very rarely spread joy. They hold on to it. Everyone gives pain. No one gives happiness. Don't give pain. Give happiness. And give what you can. Because there's some people who can get everything and they give nothing. And there's some people who can barely give and they give it all. Love yourself. Concentrate in the moment. Be present. And the answers I have to the people who are asking me. Find a community. If that means you got to upturn your entire life, you got to quit your job, you got to move to a small community in the woods where it's like a village, but you know your neighbors and you go, hey, that's Phil, and you don't need to lock your door. You can be like the people I met in the jungle. No walls, because the people here I trust and they won't rob me. It's a community and I'm not on edge. I'm not like those people in New York who go, it's good to be angry. No, you're just consistently on edge because you can't trust the people you live around you. And a human being is not supposed to live in an environment where they don't trust the people who live in their vicinity. That creates pain and terror. Be in the moment. Have faith. Have a metaphysical. There's something out there that's greater than you. I believe, as I said, God is the universe and we are in it, and it is love. It is beautiful. And sometimes you feel pain, you see horrible things to remind you of how good it is when it is good. Because the whole time I was suffering, I remember thinking how good it will be when I finally get home and hold my girlfriend and lay in a bed instead of laying here in a hammock in the jungle on the verge of literally shitting my pants and puking on my belly, on the verge of screaming in agony and rolling around in a ditch. And it was. And if I didn't suffer, it wouldn't have been as good. Have faith, my friends. The bad times will pass, and the good times will come again. All right? Until then, stay hard, stay compassionate, stay loving, stay strong, stay giving, stay faithful, and stay confident. There's nothing that's going to be put in front of you that you can't tackle. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you.